Hey everyone, this is Zeb here, and now that I've actually had some time to relax, I actually went to GP Orlando this weekend, so it was a lot of fun. I had a good time. I had one of my friends, DeWitt, was actually there with me, and he did pretty well. He did a couple of drafts. I did some drafts. I did a sealed event Friday, a draft on Friday, and then the main event was Saturday. And after I dropped, after going 3-3, I went to do a draft. DeWitt actually dropped before me, and he was able to do a few more drafts Saturday. But I'm actually today going to go over the deck I actually played with on Saturday during the GP. As I go through the cards, keep in mind this is my first GP I've ever did, and I had a really good time. I really like my deck. As you can tell, they also gave us deck boxes, so that was nice of them. And I actually used Grumpy Cat sleeves when I played on Saturday, so that the new sleeves, so they won't easily break or get mangled or anything like that. So just wanted to throw that out there. So I'll go over my deck and each of the cards. My pull actually had really strong Aslan cards, and I decided to splash for another card. I'll let you know what the splash is. And it actually didn't necessarily win me a game. It didn't necessarily win me in the game. Like, I didn't necessarily need it when I casted it, but sometimes when the game stalls out, it does help you to cast it a little bit later. But let me go over the deck here. I have a Mardu Hateblade. He is a 1-drop, and you pay 1/1 for white. You pay 1 black. He gets Death Touch till in the turn. This card actually did some work. A lot of times early on, they're not going to want to attack into it or block into it. When you have a black mana up and sealed, it actually does help to have games go slower. And they're not as quick as like a draft deck. But this card does work. And then my other Death Touch creature is the Ruthless Ripper. She has Death Touch as 1 black for a 1/1 Death Touch. And you morph it. It's a morph card as well. You can actually reveal a black card from your hand. And when you reveal it, your opponent loses 2 life. Target player loses 2 life. So this card also does work too. You can kind of reveal it and kind of double whammy because they lose 1 life, and more than likely, if it's morphed, they're going to lose a really powerful creature. Kind of getting ahead of myself here. Then I have Anknock Bonkin. This is one of probably the most solid creatures in any sealed or any limited format. It's a 2/1 for 1 and a white, and it has an Outlast ability, which is 1 and a white as well. And when you have a creature with a counter on it, that creature has first strike. So card does so much work. I also had a Seeker of the Way. Seeker of the Way is 1 and a white. It's a Jeskai card with Prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets lifelink till in the turn. So it's a pretty good card. It actually gave me a life. I'm going to tell you about an experience when I revealed the card I splashed for with this card, so it was pretty cool. Smoke Teller is 2/2 for 1 in the green, and it has the ability where you pay 1 in the blue to look at a target face-down creature. So you can look at your opponent's creatures. It's a good, bear. And I did splash for blue, not for this card, but for another card I'll get to later. I also had a Rakshasa Death Dealer. It is black and a green for a 2/2. It is a rare, as you can see, rare. And when you play black and a green, Death Dealer gets 2+2/+2 till the turn. And you also, if you play a black and a green, you can regenerate it. So this card's really, really good. It's a solid 2-drop. And it's good late game, and it's also good early game too. So pretty good card. For my 3 drops, I have a Watcher of the Roost. It is an uncommon. It's a 2 and a white for a 2/1 flyer. When you morph it, you gain 2 life when you reveal a white card. So this card does work. It's still good. It's very, very good card. I like it. Probably one of my favorite uncommons in the set because you gain some life and you counter into a flyer and you can start swimming from the air if the ground gets too flooded. Also, it has morph. So, and then I have a Mordu Horchief. This is a really good creature. It has a raid ability. It's a 2 colorless, 1 white for a 2/3. When the raid triggers, you get a warrior token on the battlefield when you play it. So it's cool. And then I have a Salt Road Patrol. It's a 2/5 for 3 and a white. It has Outlast ability, where you pay 1 and a white and you put a counter on it. With this card, with one of the rares that I have, and you can do some pretty good stuff with it. So it's a pretty good card. I love it. I played Krumar Bonkin. This is a 3 and 2 black for a 5/3, and also has morph. It doesn't really have anything, no triggers or anything when you morph it. But if your opponent doesn't block, you can morph it to get some extra damage in. So then I also have an Ivory Tusk Fortress. It's Abzan color, so it's 2 colorless, a black, a white, and a green. And when untap each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it during each other player's untap step. So basically, at the beginning of their untap step, you untap your creatures as well. And the beauty with this particular card is that with the +1/+1 counters you're going to be getting for the Outlast, like the Salt Road Patrol, then you can untap it at their upkeep, at their untap step, and boom, win. And you have blockers that you outlasted turn before. For my 6 drops, I have a Sultai Scavenger. It's a 3/3 flyer for 5 and a black with Delve. This card actually does work too. I was really, really happy to get this in my pool. I've never played with it before this weekend. And I actually had it in one of my draft decks as well. But this card does so much work, especially if you're able to flood your graveyard early. So it's a pretty good card. I like it. I also have another Delve card, Hooting Mandrills. It is a 4/4 trample for 5 in the green with Delve. This card also does work late game, early game as well, if you have a bunch of stuff in your graveyard. I didn't really have a lot of Delve enablers, but that's okay, because with as you go in the game, you can pretty much cast the cards, for their mana cost, and it still impacts the board. But usually you want to do Delve, so it's pretty cool. And then for my last creature, I have a Veritable Lamassu, for a 6 and a green for a 5/4 flyer. The reason why I'm playing this card in particular is because I didn't really have any bombs late game, and this as a 7-drop flyer. More than likely, on turn 7 when you end up casting this creature, it does work. It's still a good card. It impacts the board immediately. So you want a card that does it. You can start swinging for 5 in the air if your opponent's getting low. So it's a good card. So I'll go into my non-creature spells. I have a Defiant Strike. It's a 1 white instant. You target a creature, you get +1/+0 to end the turn, and you draw a card. So I had 2 of these. I had 2 of these. These cards are really good, especially in this type of deck where you kind of want the card advantage, and you get a little combat trick to do a little bit of extra damage. So there you go. I also had a Suspension Field. When Suspension Field enters the battlefield, you exile target creature with toughness 3 Raider. It's exiled until Suspension Field leaves the battlefield. So this card does work as well. It gets rid of a lot of bombs. There are a lot of 3 toughness creatures in the format, usually in late game. Temur has a lot of them, so you want to be able to remove it right away. So I also have a Kill Shot, destroy target attacking creature for 2 and a white. This card is pretty good removal as well. So if they attack with a large dude, you can blow them out. I also have an Abzan Ascendancy. It is white, green, and black. And when it enters the battlefield, you put counters on all the creatures you control. And then every time a non-token creature dies, you get a 1/1 white spirit. This card is probably the bomb I have in this set. In this sealed deck. This card is so good. I would first pick this card in a draft. I know it'll put me in Abzan, but you can work around it. And it's one of the, out of all of the Ascendancies, it's one of the few that doesn't really ask a lot from you. Is just that you have creatures on the battlefield, and then when a creature dies, which two relevant abilities. Unlike the Temur, where all you have to do is just play 4 toughness, 4 power creatures, and Jeskai. I think the Jeskai Ascendancy is the one that acts the most of you, because you have to cast a non-creature spell, but more than likely you're going to be able to do that. But I like all the Ascendancies. This was probably my favorite, because it's 2 relevant abilities, and you don't actually have to cast anything. You just cast a spell, and you don't have to really do anything extra. If you get 2 benefits for not doing a lot, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's a pretty good card. Love it. I also have Seek the Horizon, and a set in this format, from what I've experienced when playing the sealed pool on Friday and then doing the pre-releases, is that this set is slow. And you really need your mana as early as possible. So I decided to play Seek the Horizon. And how it works is that you pay a 3 and a green. You search your library for 3 basic lands, and you reveal them and put them in your hand. So it sets you up if you're able to put it out turn 4. Even if you play it late game after you develop your board, it kind of you shuffle your library as well. So it kind of helps you filter out your lands, and helps you make your land drops for other stuff you want to do, if you want unmorph creatures or play larger threats or any type of other spells. So this card is really, really, really good. In this and sealed, I wouldn't really play it in draft. It depends on what I'm playing or what colors I'm splashing, but in sealed, in sealed, this card does actually help you quite a bit. So I like it. I played it. It helped me get my lands, set up turns for later. So I also have a Take Up Arms. It's 4 and a white. It's an instant. You put 3 white warrior creatures on the battlefield. I actually played this on 1 turn and then played Absent Ascendancy the turn following, with the Ivory Tusk Fortress on the battlefield, so I could just start swinging, and then attack my creatures for blocks. So this card's really good. It's not as probably good as Triplicate Spirits and M15, only because Triplicate Spirits has Convoke. But this card is still good, and it still kind of gets you some extra blockers, or if your opponent attacks all other creatures, and then you play it in the turn, and then you do something like play Absent Ascendancy, or that one sorcery spell where all creatures get +2/+1, and warriors get lifelink. This card's really good. I didn't have any of that card, though, so unfortunately. I have Throttle. It's basically Lash of the Whip from Theros block. It's 4 and a black, and target creature gets -4/-4 till the turn. Good removal. I also have Incremental Growth in this deck. You put 1+1/+1 counter on one creature, 2 +1/+1 counters on another creature, and 3 +1/+1 counters on a third creature. And in this deck, especially with the Ivory Tusk Fortress and the Akin, Bonkin, your creature get first strike. I also have flyers in this deck, so it's really good on flyers. It's a pretty solid uncommon. I actually realized that there's quite a few uncommons in this deck, but they're good uncommons, and I would probably play them. I would probably play this in the draft as well, in a heavy Abzan build. And then the card I actually splashed for was Villainous Wealth. It's a myth. I believe it's a mythic. No, it's a rare. I'm sorry, it's a rare. And it's black, blue, and green, and X. You pay X. Target exiles the top X cards of his or her library. You may cast any number of non-land cards with converted mana cost X or less from among them without paying their mana costs. So basically, you exile X cards, and then you cast that many X cards with with converted mana cost X or less. So one game I was talking about earlier, where I had the Seeker of the Way Out, and I cast Villainous Wealth. So I got the Prowess trigger off the Villainous Wealth. Then I exiled the top 9 cards. I cast it for 9. So I exiled the top 9 cards of his library. So he had, it was my second round opponent. He had a whole bunch of stuff. He had, I know he had Active Treason, the one fight card with Ferocious, and some other cards. And I was basically able to, I had some card draw as well that I exiled. So I was able to cast those cards, pump this guy up, Then at the end, fight his dude, gain 10 life, because at the time it was a 10-10. And then swung for 10, gain 20, he conceded. Yeah, this card, I think in limited, and especially in sealed, I splashed for this card mainly because in sealed, it gets to a point where you are going to be playing lands or playing creatures and can't really, there are going to be some stall board states. And this card gets rid of stalled board states in most of the cases. And obviously you're playing out your lands, so that way you can cast a huge Villainous Wealth, or if it gets to the point where you can just mill them out. So either or. I don't know if it was right for me to splash this card in a Grand Prix, but it did work. I did cast it a few times, and I was able to get some really powerful spells out of it. So I don't think it was a total waste. And the blue splash, since I already playing black and green, wasn't that big a deal. So there you go. Aha. All right, and so from my lands, I had a Jungle Hollow. I also had a Scourge Barrens. I had a foil Thornwood Falls. Splash for the blue for the Villainous Wealth, and for the Seekers, the, what's it called? Smoke Teller's ability. Which really didn't come up relevant, but it does help at some times when you when the game goes late and your opponent casts more creatures, you can kind of just look at their more creatures just to see. So yeah, splash to the island as well, and then starting to fall down here. I had 3 swamps, 4 forests, bloop, bloop, and bloop, and I had 5 planes. Blah 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 blah. So I played 40 cards. I played 16 lands. I don't know if that was right. I did have really good fixing with the coming to play tap lands to gain the life. I wish I would have had one of the uncommon lands. That would probably would have helped a little bit as well. And splash for blue for the Villainous Wealth. But I also had the cards where I can draw cards as well. So that kind of helped with filtering. And I also have Seek the Horizon, so I didn't really think it was that big a deal running 16 lands. Maybe I could have not. Maybe I shouldn't have splashed for Villainous Wealth and played another creature, and maybe took out another card and played a land. Instead, going 3-3 for my first Grand Prix I wasn't expecting to do very well, to be honest. And going into round 3, I was 2-1, so that was really exciting. And then I lost my I won my 4th round, lost my 5th and 6th round, and ended up dropping because in order to go day 2, you had to at least have 21 points. It was 9 rounds, so after I lost in round 6, I was like, all right, I was going to keep going until I lose, so there was really no reason for me to stay in the tournament, but I did do a draft. But overall, the experience was nice. The Convention Center, the Orlando Convention Center, that place is huge. Huge. I think it's the Orange County Convention Center. That place is huge. It blows Columbus's center out the water as far as the sheer size. And Columbus is big, but that one is huge. Like, that convention center is humongous. And some of the other things was cool. I saw a lot of pros there. I saw them. I didn't actually say hi to any of them because I didn't want to be that guy who's like, oh man, you're awesome. So there were a lot of pros there. I saw. There were also judges there as well. I didn't really get a chance to check out much of the dealers. And all the judges, a good chunk of the judges I ran into and had interactions with were really nice. There were a few that, let's just say, I don't expect judges to know everything, but at least when it comes to this particular format, I would like them for at least to know a little bit more about interactions in this particular format. Which is still new. It's only been about 2 weeks since the set's been released. So we're still learning, and it was fun for my first Grand Prix. More than likely, I'm probably going to have a goal set to do 2 Grand Prix next year. Travel to 2, probably one in the spring and then one in the summer, or one in the spring and one in the fall. I'm probably going to do either limited Grand Prix. I'm not really that strong in standard as of yet, and I did practice with my standard deck that I built, which I'm going to go over another deck tech with my standard deck once I feel comfortable showing in, I get laughed at. But other than that, man, it was a really good time. Uh, it was awesome. It was one of the best experiences I've had playing Magic. I've been playing Magic for going on 4 years, well, paper Magic anyway. But yeah, so hopefully, yeah, it's great. As far as the sealed format, as cons, if anything, I would probably, I don't know, it's still kind of early, so probably I'll do a video just describing some of the things I've noticed with playing sealed cons, because I have a little bit more experience than probably most of the people who are watching this video, so I can go into the details of videos of that. So other than that, I had a great time. Orlando was hot. It was hot Friday and Saturday. It cooled off Sunday, but I had to leave really early to catch my flight, and that's it. So if you guys have any questions or anything, any particular questions as far as the GP experience, message me. You can comment on this video. I'll be sure to answer any questions you guys might have. And that's it. So you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.